Hi everybody. Today I am going to be going over quarter 2 for 2023. I'm going to be setting my goals for quarter 3 for 2023 and my July goals, just all in one fell swoop. This is my personal planning. My work planning video went up last week, so go check that one out. I'll leave it linked. It includes a look through of my Notion for HB90, but for my personal goals, I utilize the Makselife system. So one thing I normally I do it all on camera, but this time I decided to get a little bit of a head start purely because this is going to be a longer video. I'm cutting my videos down, but somehow it's making my videos longer. So I use the Makselife system. My annual goals are already in here, and there's the quarterly compass assessment where you do the assessment and you compare it to last quarter. One thing I do is I print the assessment scoring questions that are in the front of the planner because you don't get them when you do the quarterly compass, but I find that just picking a number for each one doesn't feel as accurate. I mean, it's all subjective, right? But it doesn't feel as accurate to me unless I answer the questions again, and then I just save these in the back of my planner so I can compare. If you want to print these out yourself, whether you use the planner or not, they have a free resource library at makselife.com. At the Makselife website, check the website down below. Their resource library is free. If you get their compass assessment out of there, it's pages 4 and 5. And I just print those out every single time, and I utilize those. The other thing when I print these is I do always round down, even if it's close to the other number, purely because it's what I've always been doing, and so it keeps it sort of in line, but at the same time, it gives me an idea if there has been improvement. So since I've already answered these questions, I've already taken my averages. I've got my previous quarter's questions so I can look at them and see if if it's 1 point difference, whatever, but if there's like a major difference, I want to kind of call that out. And I can start, what I'll do here is I will put the line where I want to be. I'm going to color it in to where I am currently, and I will use my marker, like my regular pen, to draw in the line of where I was last quarter. All right. And I'll be, I guess, for other supplies besides my Makselife Vertical, I've got my Moxie markers, which are basically their version of mild liners. And then the dot colors that I use that are paired with each Moxie marker, and those colors are listed in the description as well. And then for my pen, I found a black Le Pen, and I've been really wanting to use one of these, so that's the pen I'm using currently. All right, let's get going. First category is personal. So I scored a 6.25, so a 6. I feel like that may have gone down. Except I didn't score a 6. I'm looking at the wrong category. I scored an 8.75. I was thinking to myself as I was starting to color this in, why would that have gone down? It doesn't feel like that's something that should have gone down that much. So an 8.75. So I'm giving myself an 8. Last quarter, it was an 8, and I want to get to a 9. I'm going to put the line in because I still want to get to a 9. That's just I'm close. How much closer did I get? That's the question. It was an even 8 last time, so I got almost there. So I feel like if things continue on their regular track, that I will be reaching that 9 goal, hopefully next quarter, because I came very close. Honestly, I think therapy is a big part of that. I really started doing therapy this last quarter, so that's probably a piece of that. So hopefully this next quarter, especially with all the family we're having visit, will make me feel really good. Fun and recreation. This quarter, I gave myself again an 8. It was a 3.75. Last quarter, I need to put like something in here to make it easy to get to. Let me use this. Here we go. For fun and recreation last quarter, it was an 8, so it stayed the same, but my goal was an 8 for the year, so I'm not moving that. I'm just going to keep it the same for right now, and 8.38 maybe went down like a many zeros decimal place of a point, so we're just going to be happy with that, staying where it is. Everything's pretty negligible. Work and learning. 8.25 being the full score. I'm pretty sure this one went up. And I know exactly why. That is like the sloppiest fucking coloring job ever. It did go up And my goal was to get to an 8. So I reached my goal, and I am going to, again, keep it there. I'm not going to just raise it. I'm just going to try and maintain it. And I will tell you right now, I mean, we'll talk about this with personal actions to the results, but I know a big part of it is getting my fuckery flowers finished. Well, I mean, I still have one more to finish when I'm filming this, but I'm planning to do that tomorrow. I'm very close to being done. Feels like I'm finally starting to get back in the groove after, I guess, context here for those of you who this is your first video with me. And I'm going to start coloring in family relationships while I fill this in. I got a 7.5, so 7. Anyway, I am in kidney failure. I have polycystic kidney disease, and I started dialysis back in January. But last year was a mess for me because I was so sick. And I'm still sick, and I still feel sick. I'm still sick. I still feel sick. There's nothing there that's different, but I feel less sick on a regular basis. And I think that's what finally got me into the swing of things. And also figuring out some ways to get some more work done while I'm on dialysis, freed up more time to be creative when I'm off of it. So it was a 7. Where am I at here? Why am I? Okay, wait. Yes. So last quarter it was a 7. This quarter it is a 7. It was a 7.5 this quarter. Last quarter it was a 7. It was a 7, so it did increase by half. But I do want to get it to an 8, and I'm hoping that this quarter will definitely get me there because it's family and relationships, and I am having so much family come visit me. It's really cool because they all recognize I'm on dialysis, and traveling for me is a little dicey right now, so I'm going to see so much family this quarter. And so stayed the same, but it is going up, and hopefully by next quarter we'll have hit that goal. Health and wellness. I gave myself a 6.25. This one probably stayed, I'm guessing either stayed the same or dropped. Being on dialysis is making me feel better, but it's also really calling out the things that are still really hard for me to do, like exercise. It was a 6 last quarter. It's a 6 now. So it did not go up, but it did not go down. Let's see what the minuscule difference was. It did go down slightly. Last quarter was 6.5. And I knocked exercise routine down a little bit. So it's still a 6. So it didn't go down. I mean, like I said, it went down minusculely, but not enough to count. And my goal is still to get to a 7. So we'll see. We'll see. That one, I'm doing my best. There's only so much I can work on in health and wellness where it impacts how I score myself, because when you're in kidney failure, it sometimes feels like there's nothing you can do, even if you're on dialysis, even if you're following the diet, even if you're doing all the things, there's nothing you can do to actually feel better. So I'm giving myself at least a certain amount of space on that one. All right, for spiritual and personal growth, I gave myself a 6.5. Honestly, I can't imagine I went up this quarter. I'm still feeling fairly blasé, although Jesse and I have finally come to the conclusion that even though I thought I could put church kind of out of my mind because I was like, whatever, I'm finally at the point where I realized I really need that community. So we're figuring out how to make dialysis work, because we don't want to we'll talk about this when we get to the goals. I'm not going to ramble too much, but last quarter was a 7, so it did go back down again. And I think that was specifically because of kind of just dismissing it and then not following through with any of the little things I tried to do. I basically didn't follow through with any of that shit. So we're going to still want to go for an 8 though. And this quarter we're going to reprioritize. All right. Financial, I gave myself a 7. And I'm actually feeling really good about a lot of things financially in terms of the moves that we're making. But I'm like in the middle of a lot of things. Does that make sense? So I'm not quite feeling accomplished as much as I feel like things are in progress, but it did go up. Last quarter was a 6, and my goal is to get to an 8. And now I'm putting okay, whatever. This is not the most organized of methods of, I started doing one method by putting the black marker as one thing and then the marker as another thing, and then I just fucked it up. And so fucking whatever, it's fine. I do what I want. And then finally, physical environment, gave myself an 8.75. So an 8. I feel like that might have dropped a little, although it's kind of still like in this particular category, I'm feeling very good about everything. It's the category that has the most 10s for me out of all of the scoring. So in this one, it's kind of just, I think, how I'm feeling on any given day. Like, I'm feeling really good about the projects that I've accomplished, but at the same time, like, there's things that still need to get done that are kind of glaringly obvious in terms of the outside. So, I don't know. This is like what happens when you subjectively score. So, last quarter, I had an 8. It had gone down from a 9. And let's see. It had gone down from, now it's 8.87 on here, 8.75 on here. So, it did decline slightly, but not enough for me to give a fuck. And my goal for that one is a 10. And I think I'll get there, especially when I get stuff on the walls. I did improve more than I mean, mostly it looks like I stayed the same, but according to this, I improved more than I declined. So we'll say increased. Woohoo! What personal actions contributed the most to these results? Flower series, figuring out work on dialysis, and getting YNAB. Well, we're still working on getting that set up. That is helping too. 3 words to describe how I generally felt over the last 90 days. Optimistic, worn out, and accomplished. Where's my biggest opportunity for growth? What area of life will be my next focus for the next 90 days? So my biggest area for growth is spiritual and personal growth, and I am going to fucking make getting into the church a priority. Although I'm having so much family in town, there's only going to be so many opportunities for that, but that kind of narrows it down. So by narrowing it down, that might make it easier. I don't know. Now that we have done this, the next thing I want to do is I need to do my July goals, but first we also need to check in on June and kind of reassess my annual goals so I know if there's anything I need to make changes on. So I think the way that I'm going to do this is new for me, doing all of this kind of mush together. So bear with me. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to check in with June goals. I have not done my monthly reflection because I still have a couple more days before that comes due. It's in my Notion, though. We'll talk about that at some other point. Is go to June, check in on the goals, use those to check in on the annual goals, and while I'm doing that, sort of do a mid-year check-in on those annual goals, and then head to July. Rather than by month or by annual, we're going to do this by goal. So we're going to start with personal. Personal stayed the same this last quarter. In June, I still have not finished. I have to transfer steps into here. For June, I got to update this because I did not do my weekly check-ins yet. But I can't check any of these off yet because I haven't done all of them. The one I don't think is going to get done this quarter is the monthly pedicure. I literally just have not had the energy on a Saturday night to do it. But my feet are looking okay. So we'll add that to next quarter. But the rest of these will get checked off, except for the weekly will not get fully checked off because I haven't been doing that. Because I've been doing the HB90 for a couple of weeks, but we're getting there. We're working on it. The big issue is, and I talked about this in terms of work stuff in my work planning, it is really hard for me to write while I am on dialysis. I'm right-handed. My axis is in my left arm. So you would think I would be able to write because it's my right hand. But I'm 43, which I did not remember in that video. And when I write, I often use my hand as like a stabilizing, my left hand, and I can't do that because I can't move it. It's amazing how illegible my writing is. So I might move this digitally as well to make it a little easier for me to write, or I might just have to figure out a different time to do it. Either way, of all of these personal items, they've all the routines and everything, for the most part, have been going really, really well. If we look at my annual goals, it was to maintain and develop routines, and these have been going okay. Again, I just need to keep working on the weekly Makselife, like making that a habit. And I got to figure out where I'm going to stack that. And then monthly routines, those have actually just been sort of falling into place. I think the biggest thing right now, routine-wise, that I need to work on and make a goal into July is figuring out my Sunday schedule. Because grocery shopping on Saturdays seems to be working okay. But if I want to go to the UU congregation on Sunday mornings, at least some Sunday mornings, then I need to be able to work out a dialysis schedule that works with my work obligations on Sundays, with church and everything else. And one issue that I'm going to run into is that I don't know how long it takes. I've never been to this church. I don't know how long it takes to go to their sermon, to hang out after coffee hour and everything else. So I might need in July at some point to move dialysis to a different day on the weekend and go to the church so I can see kind of what the timing looks like. So I think that's going to be my personal, it's going to be kind of personal combined with spiritual and personal growth. So let's move over there and get that written in. So for personal, my focus will be to figure out Sunday dialysis routine, and that the item on this goal is to pick the weekend to do Saturday dialysis. And then I have plants, and then my Makselife daily, weekly, monthly. I'm going to try and keep my habits down this month, specifically because of how much family is going to be in town. And so I can really focus in on the ones that are important. But I am putting plants because, holy shit, I have been doing okay with my plants, but as we have now moved from the rainy weather to the hot weather, the difference between watering them every day or every other day and then skipping a few days, holy shit. Let's move to fun and recreation, which will definitely, along with family and relationships, come to the forefront a little bit this month. In June, my goals were 2 days off per week. I'm already most of the way there. I took Tuesday off this week because Sunny came into town and I wanted to get some things right back from their trip. But we did go to the cake concert. I did take my Sunday off. We did go to the farmer's market. We saw more live music besides cake. Got to see Garbage as well. Got poured on. So this has gone very well. The only one was ThriftCon. We moved to July because the weekend that they were going to be here in Denver, Sunny was out of town. And I want to do it with Sunny. Although I don't know if I'm going to try and do it in July or not, because when I look at my month, we'll talk about that in a bit, but there's not enough weekends to really make space for that, especially if I've got one weekend where we're going out of town, one weekend where my mother-in-law is going to be out of town. I've got my weekend with my live plan with me, which is usually a full weekend. That leaves one weekend, which will potentially be the one we move dialysis and do the church experiment. So it's probably already figured out as it is. That might be too much for this next month, which is fine. Plus the kids are going to be out of town for a week. So that just may not happen in July. It may be something to wait for till August. But generally speaking, fun and recreation has gone well this past month. Looking at my fun and recreation annual goal, this whole walking the Denver multi-use trail has not been happening, mostly because either I haven't felt good or this last month and a half, the weather has been so weird. Hail and pouring rain. Denver doesn't get this much rain in a year usually. So I'm not worrying about that right now. Just getting out of the house is helpful. Visiting museums has not really happened all that much, but is going to happen because we're going to have family in town and we're going to be going to various places. 2 days off weekly has been going okay. Sundays off has been going okay. And scheduled weeks off has been going relatively okay. So I don't really feel the need to update too much here. So let's get that for July. My focus is our 10-year anniversary. We actually haven't taken a honeymoon, so this little weekend we're going to get away is actually the closest thing to a honeymoon that we've ever had. But the regular stuff, 2 days off each week. I have Sundays off times 2 because with our anniversary weekend and then with my mother-in-law in town, I'm taking 2 Sundays off of any sort of hangouts or live streams. Going to the farmer's market at least once, and then visit some kind of museum when my mother-in-law's here. I think she's been to the zoo already, so we may go somewhere else, maybe the Botanic Gardens. We're going to go to the Lavender Festival with the kids. We're going to Sushi Den, which is the really nice sushi restaurant here when my mother-in-law's in town, and then, of course, our anniversary weekend. For work and learning, I have only been using this to kind of keep track of the course stuff I've been doing, and that's what I'm going to do in July as well, I think. But if you watched, again, my work planner video, I'm giving the Sprouted Planner a try this month, but I'm actually thinking I may wind up moving some of the high-level projects just to my personal planner and just say fuck it. So this month, I'm just going to keep as I've been doing, keep on keeping on, but next month may look different. So stay tuned for that. Looking at June, I finished the course I've been working on. I did weeklies for both of those. Not that last one. No, I did. Well, I still have one more. Okay, whatever. HB90 weeklies, I've been doing those after the first week or so. And then so I checked one off a little prematurely, but whatever. And I did the boot camp already, and I haven't done the monthly yet because I haven't gotten there yet. But I did finish the other course I was working on, so yay for that. Let's move to the annual goals. So I'm crossing out immersion. I'm going to go back and do that again, but that's not going to be my priority. Instead, it's going to be brand plus brand, and that's going to be this next quarter. And then use and follow through on HB90 for the whole year. Been doing that. So this one has actually been moving right along pace for the year so far. All right, so for work and learning with the start of the quarter, it's start the new course, brand plus brand, and the modules I want to get through this month based on my work plan, and then HB90, the quarterly review, the weekly reviews, and the monthly review. Pretty basic. All right, for family and relationships, I missed a week of calling my sisters, but other than that, that's been going well. I did go on I had a friend date. I went on dates with Sunny and RJ, with Jesse. Sunny went on their trip. They just got back, like I said. And we planned activities for when my sister and brother-in-law are in town and when my mother-in-law is in town. And actually, what's also not on here because we weren't sure if it was going to happen until this last month, also planned some activities for when my brother-in-law is in town. So for the focus for family and relationships, it's going to be pretty... Oh, I guess I should go to the annual goals too. I'm all over the place, y'all. Okay, so I haven't been able to check most of these off because, most of them are year-long goals, but date nights, get-togethers, coffee dates, date with kids individually, all going okay. 10-year anniversary celebration is going to be happening this month, and that I'll be able to check off, call my sisters, and then see family this year. That's also something we'll be able to check off this summer. So that's definitely going to be a focus. This month is the start of family being in town. We pretty much already talked about it, right? So my focus is family fun time. We've got the call and the dates on here. 10-year trip, the kids out of town, my mother-in-law visiting, and I need to make, and this is actually on my calendar, we are, like I said, Sushi Den's on here. Sushi Den only does reservations 3 weeks out, and since we're doing for 5 people, we have to call and make the reservation that morning, 3 weeks out, so that's on my list as well, because we really want to take my mother-in-law there, because it's awesome. Anyway, moving forward to health and wellness. In June, how did things go? All of these, for the most part, have been going okay. Going outside, 6K steps, meal planning, taking Layla out, finding a place to go swimming, which I need to just make. I'm going to just put it on here as a priority for the next month. We didn't take the kayak out, again, because of aforementioned weather. This coming up weekend is probably the first weekend I'd feel confident doing that. And it's the weekend before the 4th of July, and I don't know if I want to brave the crowds at the reservoir. Peloton has been the one thing I have not been doing, and I said it's because of the recall. My seat still hasn't shown up, but I know so many other people who are just saying, fuck it, I didn't fall off before, I'm not going to fall off. So I'm going to add it again and just see if I can get it done, because I have had some energy on my non-dialysis days. So I think aiming for that is a good idea, and going swimming is something on my list too. It's one thing about doing home hemodialysis with a fistula is that I can swim. If I was doing a different form of dialysis, I might not be able to swim. And I love to swim. So like I said, I'm keeping the habits really light, but I am going to put Peloton on there, not because I want to do it every day, but because I want to just be able to pop on a little dot if I do happen to do it that week. So it'll be easy to see if I did it at least once per week. I put go swimming on here and take the kayak out. I didn't put any other habits on here because I'm just trying to focus on moving my body in ways that are delightful to me. I could put Layla walks on here as well, but again, that's not, it's with daycare and Jessie taking her to the office, I don't have as many opportunities for that, and sometimes it just doesn't fit in with the few minutes to take her out for a walk that she doesn't need. Even if I just go outside and play with her, that would be more fun. So these are just the specific ones for health and wellness for the next month. The spiritual and personal growth is where I'm going to put some focus this month outside of all of the trips and everything happening. For June, I can tell you without even looking at it, it was to meditate and do gratitude and said, fucking do this already. And I still didn't fucking do this already. It is the 28th and I have not done either of these things once. So my therapist is really? I'm yeah. So those are definitely things I want to work on, but what I want to focus on, like I said before, is getting into the congregation. And we're going to go peek at the goals, but if I remember correctly from before, this really isn't something that is even... here it says, resume regular Peloton riding, which is what I'm still working on. Join First Universalist and attend 2 times monthly. So develop weekly routine to open up Sunday mornings is actually what I'm going to be focusing on this month to figure out Sunday dialysis routine. So pick weekend to do Saturday dialysis. And so what I'm going to do on this list, I'm just going to talk about it while I write it, is go dot for the focus. And it's going to be, so we picked weekend to do Saturday dialysis. So there's that. Once that's done, and I think I'll be able to definitely do that like on the 1st. So first thing is going to be do Saturday dialysis. The next Sunday, go to first UU. And then with the time that it takes, work Jess on plan to do this 2 times monthly. Assuming, of course, it goes well. But like, that's going to be my whole spiritual and personal growth is this. It's all I'm going to focus on for that is pick that day. On that Saturday, do dialysis. On that Sunday, go to the church, figure out the timing, and then use that to work with Jessie to look at our schedule and figure out how we can make it work on a couple Sundays a month. This is my month. And it's summertime, so it's going to be slower there if it's anything like it was in Napa, which is fine. Easy my way into it. But that means if I do that, then by the time September rolls around, when things pick up usually at UU churches, I'll have eased my way in. Ease on down the road, as they say in the whiz. Financial. Have I even checked any of these off? Can I even? Okay. So, no buys going well. I have not finished the wine. The rest of these have not been finished yet. But they're all like administrative busy work, I think, that I'm not too worried about. Moving to the financial. Okay, pay off our debt. We actually have made a pretty good dent in it. We have probably gotten more than halfway through what we wanted to pay off. And since we're halfway through the year, that's working really well. The no-buy check-ins are going well. The budget meetings, not so much. But we are I have gotten a lot of practice by switching my entire work budget over to YNAB. And so now I just need to work with Jesse to get it all put together just because I don't do all of the bill pay. So he has a lot more information than I do. I don't know if we're going to focus on that this month, though, because with all the family in town and everything else, it might just be a little rough to try and figure that out. But what I think we're going to focus on in July is the whole food thing, the kitchen thing. One thing that I was really overwhelmed by was trying to figure out, and I talked about this before with doing a spreadsheet to keep track of our grocery budget. I love to cook. I actually love to grocery shop, but the stuff in between, the pantry management and everything else has been a little hard on me. And I did not know how to really handle it. I've even tried looking at paid apps like Plan to Eat, but it just wasn't working for me. I found the most glorious Notion template called the Happy Kitchen. And it's one of those where you put your recipes in and like has auto-populating grocery and pantry inventory. And so what I want to do is spend this next month entering in our info and customizing it for us and then sharing it with Jesse and Sunny and RJ so that everybody can have access to it. I know that doesn't seem like financial, but managing the food that we eat and not wasting as much food is especially with inflation, is definitely going to impact our budget. So that and continuing to work in YNAB and get that ready to go is going to be what I work on, mostly on dialysis, because like if I can do a lot of the lists and stuff, like just go make my list of everything and then transfer all the info into Notion on dialysis, that'll be one way to use my time. But I will let you know. I will let you know how it goes. I will give you an update. And I also put no-buy is going to be my other habit. I think those are going to be the plants, the Peloton, the no-buy are the only habits I'm going to use this month. Physical environment. I did not get everything done. I was ambitious this last month, but I did not know that the weather was going to be as fucking whack as it was. And most of this was outside. I did finish my dining room wall, gallery wall. I love it. I'm still working on the big wall in the house. It won't get finished this month, but I want to finish it this next month. So I have a lot of these things, the backyard mulch, I didn't even get a chance to work in the backyard because again, how much the weather, like it just wasn't even safe. There was so much hail. But I did do the research on the deck. So we are going to work on that probably in August because I don't think we're going to have time this month. But I did get a chance to finish my basement gallery wall, which, whatever, I'll get to that. But we did get, so the siding and stuff, like the little bit of repair work we need to get done on the sides of the house. We have the schedule to have the guy come and look at it. And we have to get a yellow jacket nest removed, which is happening tomorrow. No, Friday, whatever day. Anyway. Slow progress. But I was able to cross off dining room wall, which is great. And I was able to order. I know I was on a no buy for no house things this month, but I'll talk about this in my no buy video coming up, but I knew what prints I wanted for the living room. I was just waiting for a sale. A sale happened. It was a good sale, so I just bought them. The exterior work really needs to get worked on though. So I know I have a whole list of like house things that need to get done this month. So I'm just going to start making a list of them. I don't even know what my focus is going to be. I know what my focus is going to be. My focus is going to be get the guest room ready. This is pretty ambitious. Getting the guest room ready. All of this has to do with getting the guest room ready because part of the problem in the guest room is all of the boxes of stuff for the gallery wall. So printing the stuff that needs to go in the new frames, doing the gallery wall, that'll get all those boxes out of there, then cleaning up the guest room, just giving it a good clean because we're going to start having guests coming in there. I have some wall art just floating around that I can put up in the guest room to make it look a little less bare, and there's a mirror in there that needs to be moved. And while that feels like a small step, it's a very heavy mirror, so we may actually need to get some help doing that. And then on the other side, just getting the backyard generally cleaned up. We've been doing a little bit of work back there, but like I said, it hasn't been really ideal. And with all the rain we got, it's a little wild. Just a little bit. And then the 2 prints I ordered for the living room, getting those framed and hung because that'll just make everything tied together and I'll feel really good. So will I get this all done? I don't know. If I don't get this all done, it's my mother-in-law who's staying there first. And actually, I don't worry about her getting mad at me, so it's okay. Anyway, so these are my July goals. I looked at my annual goals. The only thing I have left is to do my monthly, and I'm not doing that for another couple days. I'm feeling good. If you can't tell, this mid-year check-in, if I look back 6 months ago, before we started when we started this planner, I was in massive kidney failure. I felt like I was dying because I was. I say that, like I felt like I was dying, and Jesse's like, you were. I mean, I still am technically because my kidneys don't work. If I didn't have dialysis, I would die within a couple of weeks right now. That's how bad my kidneys are. But despite all that, I'm like, despite all that, I am feeling really optimistic right now. I'm excited to see my family over the next couple of months. Sunny is getting ready to start community college. RJ's about to start his senior year. We're talking about getting another dog. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I think our cat Lou would move out if we brought another animal into this house. He might move out just because we're having so many house guests. Lulu is a cranky boy, and that's okay. We all love Lulu. He's a big sweetie bear. I don't even know where he is. We had the cleaners here today, which means I won't see him for several hours. Anyway, the point I'm making with all that rambling is that I'm feeling hopeful. I'm feeling very hopeful about how the rest of the year is going to go. Whether I get a new kidney or not. Like on dialysis, it's like, okay, I can keep going. So yeah, with all of that being said, I'd love to hear from you. How is your year going so far? If you are not feeling as optimistic as I am, and trust me, I'm not even bringing up anything going on in the world right now. Like I'm just talking about my own personal business when I talk about being optimistic. Don't mistake me. I have feelings. We're not going to talk about those right now. If you have not been having such a great year, then let us know what we can do to cheer you on and help you at least feel a little uplifted. And if you are having a great year, uplift all of us by talking about that. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, my friends, peace.